Fairsy's Big Breakfast. Thanks to Harvey Norman Launceston.
I'm in love with your body.
Now, this doesn't surprise me, but it's extremely disappointing and worrying that only 6 Tasmanians have been able to access the medicinal cannabis scheme since it was legalised or brought in here by the state government and Health Minister Michael Ferguson. Now, the Controlled Access Scheme, it was meant to make it easier for patients to and families to be able to access medicinal cannabis as a form of treatment for a lot of things and a lot of chronic illnesses. And unfortunately, it's not happening with just 6 people. There apparently, according to the Health Minister, there are 9 on the waiting list. But, for example, I know of one who has been referred to see the specialist to go along and see whether they can access medicinal cannabis, is still on the waiting list, and this was August last year. Can't even see the specialist. Doctors don't seem to know how to prescribe it and what to do about it. So it's bureaucracy all over the place. It was meant to make it easier and a pathway for patients who have tried absolutely everything else to access. I mean, we don't like anyone being in chronic pain, and they should have a choice. If they want to try medicinal cannabis that has no side effects compared to, I mean, this is how silly and ridiculous the situation is at the moment. You can actually go and get morphine, and it's easy to get that. I mean, come on, seriously. I mean, what's wrong here? That's crazy. I mean, the side effects, as we know, of morphine and drugs like that. But, there's something wrong with the system if that's easy to get than accessing medicinal cannabis. And as you know, from day one, I'm a massive supporter of this. I don't like seeing family members and people in pain at all. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. And that the fact that there's only 6 that have been approved to use it, and another 9 on the waiting list, and people lining up to see a specialist, one of them, as I know very well, for almost a year to see this specialist, it's just crazy. It needs to be overhauled. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be fixed. I mean, otherwise, what's the point of having it? I mean, these families, Health Minister, these families are suffering. They are going through hell every day. And this bureaucracy is not helping. Please fix it. Because you can. You and the government can fix this and make it easier and make it streamlined. I mean, sure, let the specialist decide and all that sort of thing. Make sure the protocols are in place. I'm not arguing against that at all. You need them. But make it as easy as possible. I mean, they're already stressed and tormented and going through hell. Why make it any worse? It does my head in. It really does. Now, I was planning to chat to Lynn Cleaver from Medicinal Cannabis Awareness Tasmania right now, but unfortunately, her son, Jeremy, has just had a seizure, and she's obviously can't talk because she is trying to save her son's life yet again. And you might have heard me earlier give the government a bit of a spray over the so-called Medicinal Cannabis Awareness Scheme that they introduced here to help it, make it easier for patients who have tried everything else and are fighting chronic illnesses and need relief from something that is proven to relieve symptoms, pain, all that sort of thing. And yet only 6 Tasmanians have been granted the use of medicinal cannabis since the introduction of this scheme. And it's been long before time. I know of one in particular who has been waiting to see a specialist who decides whether they do get the opportunity to get onto medicinal cannabis or not. They've been waiting since August last year to see this specialist. There's another 9 on the waiting list to get approval for this, but you can't see the specialist. You're waiting for long periods of time. So my question is, what's the point of having it? Seriously, because we've got this bureaucratic BS, as I call it, because it is stopping families from having a better quality of life. And isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what the scheme was introduced to do? to help people, help families, help loved ones. And it's about time our politicians did that. I mean, this scheme is not working how it's meant to do. It needs to be streamlined. It needs to be fixed. It's great that these 6 people have got access to it. There's 9 on the waiting list, and there are loads of others. Loads of others. We need more specialists. We need more resources, and we need this system to be fixed. We need it to be streamlined, not any extra pressure and stress to a already stressful situation like with Lynn and her family right now, trying to save their son yet again after having a seizure. I mean, this is a daily occurrence. A daily occurrence for them, and it's horrible. It rips my frickin' heart out. It does. It's just crazy. When will our politicians get it right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. We've got better access to much harder drugs and easier access to much harder drugs like morphine and everything. It's easier to get morphine now than it is to get access to medicinal cannabis, which is natural. It's a natural product. There's nothing in that. It's not going to make you crook. You're not going to have side effects from it. It's I don't know, over it.
Fairsy's Big Breakfast, weekday mornings from 6 on LAFM.